Colleagues, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Doc. You can continue. Introduce. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to introduce Professor Hlalele, an outstanding scholar, of course. Professor Dipane Hlalele is a full professor of education at the University of KwaZulu-Natal and a C2 NRF-rated researcher from 2022 to 2027, who appears in the world top 100 education scientists in South Africa. And this is according to the 2022 AD Scientific Index. Prior to joining UKZN as an associate professor in 2017, he was an assistant dean and senior lecturer at the University of Free State, a College of Education lecturer, and a high school deputy principal and teacher. He was a principal and co-investigator in the community engagement in rural context, a relational leadership strategy from 2017 to 2019, sustainable urban rural learning connections from 2017 to 2018, National Research Foundation funded projects respectively. Prior to this, he was a principal investigator in sustainable rural learning ecologies, sustainable futures for the people of the Afromontane, and a co-investigator in the adaptive leadership in community engagement and service learning NRF-funded projects respectively. The accrued value of these projects is 2.7 million rands. He has supervised 34 doctoral and 26 master's degree students to completion, hosted 6 postdoctoral research and 1 teaching fellows, and published over 60 articles, peer-reviewed conference proceedings, and chapters in books. He has examined over 130 theses and dissertations from 18 South African and 3 international universities. He sits on the editorial board of the Journal of Educational Studies, as well as the Australian and International Journal of Rural Education. Professor Hlalele is currently Ethics Chair, Human and Social Sciences Research Ethics Committee at UKZN. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you our presenter for today, Professor Hlalele. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mthembu. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me to share a few thoughts with you. I would like to congratulate Professor Koza and Dr. Mpungose for spearheading this joint venture. And we know in terms of knowledge and knowledge production and knowledge generation, if you have a consortium, you have much more richer knowledge production processes and knowledges. Thank you very much. I was tasked to talk briefly about being supervised and supervising. So what I will talk about here will be addressing both students and supervisors. So it's not a lot of things that I'm going to talk about, and I must have some disclaimers. I did not go to lengths tapping into scholarly books and then trying to educate you about supervision. I'm just going to take you through some personal story of some sort and bringing the process of supervision closer to home than theorizing it too much. Maybe we can do that some other time. So the presentation is titled Supervising and Being Supervised. And why are my slides not moving now? Sorry about that. Let me share the other document. Maybe with that one, my slides will move. I'm sure everybody can hear me. Okay, now they've started moving. I don't know what happened. Okay, This is my second slides. I'm sure professors who are here or supervisors who are here can relate.
Prof, we can't see the slides now.
Okay. Oh,
We can only see you.
I can see them from my side, and
yeah, maybe you stop sharing and share again.
it's loading. Can you see something?
Yeah, you can see it now. Yeah, I think it's slide number 2 because it has some bullet, some numberings. Yeah.
No, it's slide number 3. Number 2 has passed. Let me see if I can. Yes. Okay. Now.
Yeah,
now
there's
you can
number
move.
2.
Yeah, that's number 2. I'm sure many of you who are supervisors can relate to that scenario. You can see the professor's hair there experiencing some damage because of the hard work in supervision. And you can see in front of the professor there, you see very few thesis and dissertation of students that graduated. But on the left-hand side, you can imagine a situation where the professor had to read a lot of stuff. And then at the back, maybe some further readings. And at the bottom, on the floor, published articles. You can't even see them because they are so few. So most of us have more rejections and fewer acceptances and publications. So that, yeah, that picture strikes me deep down. So I deep down. So I like it very much. The next one, I'm just going to take you through a few truisms. People say the truisms are true statements and you cannot go beyond them, but I feel that you can go beyond them because they explain facts that are there. One, just because you have completed a PhD does not mean you can supervise one. So through the supervision process, when you are still a supervisee, there are certain tips and skills that you may learn vicariously from your supervisors and other people that you may use as a supervisor. But it does not necessarily mean because you have a PhD, already you can supervise one. So too often, supervision is based on homology. We supervise as we were supervised. So if my supervisor did this and I have to just do that on my students, which is worrying. Sometimes we don't supervise how we were supervised. We supervise how we thought we were supervised. There's a difference there. There's an act of supervision, there's that experience of supervision. But that experience of supervision, as it is told by the student, may be different from the actual fact. So the perceived process of supervision and the actual process of supervision, there may be an incongruity there or a discrepancy there. You may think that the supervisor was too harsh on you, only to find that the supervisor was not harsh, but was just rigorous. Okay, maybe those are terms that we play around with. Experience is also not enough. Expertise is required as students are diverse. And students come with their different studies, which are not supervisor studies. They are their own studies. They are student studies. So the job of the supervisor or the role of the supervisor is to help the students understand what they want to do, clarify, crystallize what they want to do, and implement it or carry the project up to fruition. And students are diverse. No two students are identical. Therefore, what was used on one student may not necessarily apply to the other student, even if they are talking about similar issues or similar things, or even if you think they come from similar backgrounds. But they are not identical. Secondly, any academic can have a PhD student. The skill is enabling the completion and submission of a quality thesis. That is very important. I've heard an argument by some of the researchers saying, well, I have many students, saying whether when you have many students, does the quality drop? When you have fewer students, is the quality better? But we do have supervisors with very few students, but those students never complete. So the skill is, how do you enable them to complete and submit a good quality thesis? It is very pleasant to supervise PhD students, because PhD students, they bring a lot of ideas to the table. We even learn from them some of the many things that we don't know as supervisors. They are bright people who work hard and they think deeply. So PhD students, by their very nature, they think very deeply and they work very hard. Not those that came by the back door and are trying to get it the easy way. Understanding the standard required for a doctoral thesis to pass with minor correction is crucial. So some of my students cry a lot, complain a lot, that I'm too harsh. Yeah, but in the end, we smile when we see the examiner's reports. Well, you know, when the student's work is of such a high quality that the examiner is turned into a proofreader or a language editor. And then they will be saying there's a comma missing here, there's a full stop missing there, because they can't say anything substantively. The student has articulated their work so well that the examiners find there's nothing to be said. Or some examiners will say, accept the thesis. I know some of the universities don't have that option where the thesis or dissertation can be accepted as is, but some do have that option where the thesis can be accepted as is. So knowing the standard, having that skill of enabling the beginning to completion, that is very important. We can have PhD students. We know at our university, you carry them for 3 years. After 3 years, you no longer get credits from them on your workload. So they are just, you no longer get credits for them. The third one, beginnings matter. So the meeting point, the first year is very important. It can be crucial for the completion of the study, the first year. So in the first year, whilst we focus on the candidature from the first day, but we must still bear in mind that we are looking forward to the examination. Even the title, when the title is crafted, when we are working around the topic, what interests the student or the candidate, we must bear in mind that this work finally will be subjected to rigorous examination. So everything we do, we're thinking at the back of our minds, there will be an examination in the end. A short and successful enrollment is based on a powerhouse first year. So this is very important. What happens in the first year is very important, because what happens in the first year, if they get everything right in the first year, they can just write out their chapters and then the chapters are corrected. I know some of the students says about me when they think that I'm not hearing them, they will say this, he makes you laugh, he makes you cry, he makes you feel like you know nothing. I'm confused. I feel like I do not have a master's degree. When they think that I'm not listening, they say this. So, but those that are brave enough, they say it to my face, and it's fine to know what they think about what is happening to them, which is good. And I know that some of the first interactions with students can be very scary. Because you scare them, you ask them many questions and they can't answer any one of them. And then they get scared, they say, I don't know anything. I know some of them have given up. First time they came, they said, no, this is not for me. They never came back. Some of them came, took a little bit of a break, re-energized, recharged, and then came back again, and then they continued with their journey. So students also differ. It's better when they have a group where they can share their frustrations and they can laugh together, they can cry together, and they can feel like they know nothing, all of them together. So it's much better. The fourth one, assess the students' information literacy in the first month of their enrollment. Information literacy, academic literacy, disciplinary literacy, all the literacies are very important to assess the amount of support that you have to give to the student or to the candidate. Disciplinary literacy means how knowledgeable are they in terms of their own discipline. And some of them, I ask them to just write a list for me. Okay, you've done your master's coursework. What were the contents in that coursework, masters? They can't remember. You did an honors degree and then you did so many modules. What were the names? What were the titles of those modules? Can you describe them? They can't remember. So disciplinary literacy is very important. Because if you were to theorize concepts, now if you were to delve into how certain concepts were constructed, how certain concepts have to be understood, how you have to reflect on certain concepts. It is important to have this disciplinary base from which you can draw your base. So information literacy, are you able to get information with ease? Are you able to say, okay, this is the information that I will use, this one I may not need it? Academic literacy, we know that how, when you read, do you read with academic understanding? So do you understand what each word means? Do you have a skill to choose certain words that are important in writing your thesis? Do you put the commas where they need to be? I know some of you will say commas are not important. They are very important. They change the whole meaning if you put a comma or you leave it out. Is the candidate thinking about the topic, methodological, epistemological, and ontological consideration? Is the candidate thinking about that? In the first time when we meet them, I find it very difficult to supervise a student that is just given to me. I want to listen to the student and hear what they want to say, hear what they say. That for me gets better as a supervisor. Now I understand. In order for me to supervise a student, I always tell them, I have to understand what you want to do in order to assist you. If I don't understand it, it's your duty to make me understand what you want to do. How do I do it? I'll ask you a lot of questions until I understand. So literature reviews, systematic reviews, and scoping reviews can emerge, which enable a rapid narrowing of the project and the development of research questions. So some students think that when they come for the first time, they will get their topic and they will go home happy. When that does not happen, they think that they are at the wrong place. Well, I always say you are at the right time because you have to, it's your PhD. It has to be owned by you. I did mine 20 years ago. So I have to help you do yours. And so literature and literature reviews, and I have a tendency of giving myself some time to think about what the topic, what the student wants to explore, and then give them some readings. And the message that go with those readings is that these readings are for you to read and understand and reflect on. They are not a gift to be wrapped and be put there. They are not a decoration. So, you know, a decoration you can do without it. Even if it's there, even if it's not there, you can go ahead without the decoration. So they are not a decoration. I try very much to emphasize that, but sometimes I get disappointed when I don't see them appearing in the students' writing. There, it's stuck again. There you go. Okay,
Yes.
that's number 4. Number 5, assumptions, field doctrines. It is very important that we clear assumptions. Supervisors, assumptions, you can also say expectations. When the candidates come, they assume that the supervisor will give them their topics, will give them their method. What theory must I use to frame this study? What is the methodology that I must use to frame this study? And those key doctrines. So they must be cleared, they must be communicated, and they must be managed well. So supervisors and candidates must not misunderstand each other. So it's better to understand the assumptions that no, you come here, I'm going to help you learn. I'm not going to give you answers. So and that is very important. So otherwise they can kill doctorates because now the students, they will be expecting answers from the end, and we don't have answers. With theoretical framework can I use? It's our 4th meeting and I still don't have a title. So they expect that after 3-4 meetings, they will have a title, and you find, or a topic, and you find that they still don't have it, and then they think that they are in the wrong place, or they are not being supervised properly. And I remember my supervisor, I won't mention it. I remember at some point I was asked, even before we decided on the title or topic or the phenomenon to be explored, I was asked the question, how many questionnaires are you going to distribute? And then I just guessed and said 150. He said, oh, no, maybe you may try 200 or 300. Yeah. So and we have not spoken about the study itself. We did not even understand whether it was a qualitative or quantitative study. But so these assumptions kill. I think maybe my supervisor had the assumption that I was going to do a quantitative study and then do frequencies and percentages and so on. So assumptions, they confuse doctorates, I think. Next one here, I want, it's your PhD. I'm just giving an example. I hope we have students here. So just to tell them, this one shows to tell them that it's their PhD. It's not the supervisor's PhD. Your supervisor did theirs many years ago. This is one example of one of my students who had to go and generate data in a rural community led by a traditional leader. So in the traditional, when you get in their protocols, you will not meet the traditional leader the first time you come there. You will meet representatives or messengers or somebody, and you will be required to sit on you'll be given a mat to sit on, and there's a dress code there. You see there's something on the head, and then and you must also have something on the shoulders. And as time went on, you can see here there's the lady graduated, and gradually and finally was given a chair to sit on. And I did not include other pictures, but as the story evolved, she was able to even put on pants and so on, and leave the headgear and the shoulder gear and so on, and be like other members of the community. So to gain trust and entry into a particular community, it may require you a lot of sacrifice or a lot of understanding in terms of how you approach the field and you enter a field. But because it's your PhD, I can't do that for yourself. I can write a letter of introduction that you are my student, blah, blah, at this university, this is your study, what it is about. But going through the journey, it's your journey. So yeah, this I just wanted to use this one example to illustrate that it's your PhD, it's your PhD, it's your doctorate. It's not your supervisor's doctorate. And as I said, when we deal with the study, at the back of our minds, we must have the end process, which is the examination process. So selection of the examiners also is single most important moment in a doctoral program. We will need the disciplinary experts. If you are doing it in a particular field, discipline, we will need that disciplinary expert. If you are using a particular methodology, we will also need a methodological expert. I've seen studies where my student will be saying, this is a narrative inquiry. And then we look for that examiner does not necessarily need to be in the field of education or in your discipline. As long as they are a methodological expert, they look at these methodological issues. And in the appointment letters, I think those must be emphasized that you were chosen to be an examiner because of your expertise in this particular kind of methodology. Or sometimes they are just specialists, or they have expertise. Sometimes they have expertise in geographic information systems, what you don't know, what we don't know, and the student has done that. So we would like to take it through the lens of a GIS specialist or someone who has expertise in that field to see to it, even though it's in education, but we will want to see if those are captured. And experience in terms of examination is also very important. We have seen those that you take. If you are an experienced supervisor, you'll see sometimes when you take it to some of the examiners, you'll see that no, it was the first time they examined this by the comments you get from them. But it's fine, we respect that, but yeah, you just make those observations that sometimes experience is very important. What I do if I happen to be an examiner, there's a time when I've read everything and I try to reflect on it, and there's a time when I try to close my eyes and say, does this deserve a pass, or does this not deserve a pass? Okay. Or the other question will be, if the supervisor and students were to address all the comments, will this be a pass? So sometimes you will find that there's a difference there. Some of the reports that I have seen, an examiner will start on a very positive note. This is outstanding work, excellent work, and so on and so on. And in the end, give that a fail. And then now, how is the report structured, and how was the examination done? So experience is also of importance. And then make sure the SOC is obvious, clear, and present in the abstracts and the introduction and conclusion. The SOC is a significant original contribution to knowledge. And a question that may be asked is, would the world or somebody somewhere in the world spend their hard-earned money to bring you to their country and come and listen to you? Or a simpler one, would you, when somebody sees your abstract and your title in a conference abstract booklet, have the courage to say, I will leave all the other presentations, but this one, I want to listen to this one. So is there that significant, some say modest, original contribution in your thesis? So without a SOC, if a PhD does not pass. A master's can pass because we are looking for the application of the basics of research When you say something is a theoretical framework, do you apply it correctly? When you say something is a methodology, do you apply it correctly? When you say this is the data analytical frame, are you applying it correctly? So for a PhD, the story is different. So we always say a PhD is not a second master's. Yeah, and students learn that the hard way. So a PhD is not a second master's. The relationship between the two must always be kept professional. Leave private matters out of the picture. I once had one candidate who requested a startup fund for a business. Yeah, I said, hey man, that's not our contract. Our contract is that you study, you are here to study. I must help you until you get your qualification. Now, a startup business is something else. So let's leave it out of the business. It's not part of the package. So relationships always kept professional. I know there are emotions involved, and sometimes students will share you a little bit more than what is professional. If there's a funeral at home, they will tell you that so-and-so passed on because they are affected emotionally. Well, we still think that can be handled. I see a message here. Does everybody see my screen? Dr. Mtembu?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I can see.
Yes,
Yes.
Prof, we
Thank
can
you very
see.
much. So
Yes.
keep the relationship professional,
Yes.
even though you, at the back of your mind, you know that we are human beings, emotional beings. So sometimes when your emotions are not okay, you may not work well. And that student are diverse also comes into the picture here. Because some of the students have a mind of their own. I don't want to say difficult students, difficult candidates. They have a mind of their own. They do things the way they want to. You'll say, do this, they bring it back as it is and think that you have forgotten about what you said. And they do it again, and you still push them, and they do it again. And you still say, no, this list of references, you need to adhere to the conventions in terms of this citation, whatever rules, and you give them the documents, they still keep a mind of their own. So you have those kinds of students. But that does not necessarily mean that they will not pass. And I know at some point they will want to submit. I know some universities accept that the students can submit without the supervisor's permission, but that must be recorded. Usually it's not recorded before the institutions don't disclose that before the submission of the thesis. They only disclose it after the thesis has been processed in terms of examination and say, okay, this was submitted without the support of the supervisor. So they have that, and even when the results come back, you still the supervisor, you still have to help the student, that student with a mind of their own, you still have them. I know some universities have article option and this thesis option. Article option being less preferable because they think that it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are that you will get your publications very quickly. You get both the thesis and publications at the same time. And but you have to put everything together. All the articles must be speaking to one central theme, and you have to put them together. And you have your concluding chapter and your introductory chapter, and put all of them together. Some say 4 or 5 articles. an equivalent of a PhD, so you can get a PhD then. I've seen that, but I know this one is less preferable. Maybe it's less popular. I think that's the correct word. Less popular. A strong supervisory team is desirable. I think this is what we are doing now. Creating a very strong. Professor Khoza mentioned in the beginning that we brought our energies together. We saw the differences that came out. We saw quite a number of students graduating faster, and they also had a shoulder to cry on when they are frustrated. We allowed them to have their own WhatsApp groups where they can share their frustrations or gossip about us without us knowing. Sometimes we get to know what they say is fine when we understand what they say about us and they don't see us. And yet, you know, they say a true story of yourself or a true reflection of yourself would be when you are dead and people can say what they want to say, knowing that you will not wake up. So we allow them to do that, but we hope that it will help them. A team, nothing replaces the diversity of ideas there. Nothing replaces the richness. Nothing replaces the shared learnings. It can also be a safety net, because if we are a team, supervisory team, should anyone withdraw, the student is not likely to suffer, because more than one supervisors would have known about the study, and it's easier to assist in that way. So there will not be, maybe if you are assigned a supervisor, is a supervisor who are there in the team, and then they can just continue with the study. We know the famous apprenticeship supervision model. I was supervised like that for my master's and for my PhD, and it was by one person. So I knew even the tone when I called. During those days, the cell phones were not so popular. So if I called for an appointment, I will hear the tone that when I go there, I'll be in trouble. Yeah, you must see me urgently, Mr. Tlalele. So you know that you're in trouble. So the one-on-one, compare it with the 9.1, whether if you are one-on-one, and you know the power dynamics in terms of one-on-one, I think it's in the next slide, the power dynamics in terms of the 9.2, where you have 1.1, one-to-one, you have one supervisor to one candidate. If the supervisor was exposed to this kind of knowledge or this kind of knowledges, they won't like it. If a supervisor is of a particular religion, they won't like it when we are silent about certain things. Sometimes they will even write a few things to add there that in Jesus' name, this, what. So you see that you can see the dangers there, and it's not only disadvantageous in terms of early career scholars, because now if it's one-on-one, one student, one supervisor, when do other early career supervisors, how do they benefit from that process? And now we have this cohort model, I think is a strong supervisory team. Both students and candidates have a say. I know in some instances, the students will wait for the professors to speak first, but that should not be the protocol. The protocol should be the other way around. We should wait for the students to speak first, and then we speak last. Because after professors have spoken, I don't know if there's any one student who will have the courage to speak after that. But you know, let me come to the power dynamics that I'm talking about. Is that so? Okay. Yeah. This is the power dynamics that I'm talking about. Because in a supervisory situation, if people hear that you are a professor, I'm telling you, I banked with one bank for over 30 years now. The moment they heard that I'm a professor, they offered me a cup of tea. They asked me whether I want tea or coffee. That's how powerful you can be. Now you can imagine the students coming from their master's programs, and there is this big professor that is spoken about. In one of the instances, we tried to ask to encourage the students to use our first names, but they still put the prof in front. So like if we say, no, call me Dipani, that's my first name. They will say Prof Dipani. So, but they still put the prof there. And if you grew up during our time when we had these ideas about who a professor can be. A professor must be very old. They must have a long beard. They don't comb their hair. They dress in one shirt or they have one suit, and then they can wait for the 5 days of the week. And all those things. And you can't say something different whilst the professor has spoken, and then nobody can say anything else. So I'm not saying disempowerment, I'm saying depowering, dealing with the power issues of this powerful supervisor with a PhD. And who's saying, and what do we say as people with PhDs? Are we going around saying PhD is not for everybody? You must do this to get the PhD. You can't get the PhD. You are not PhD material. Are we saying those things? One of the students said it after the graduation. He was interviewed. I won't mention the name of the university. And one of the students said, my supervisor said I won't graduate with a PhD. And then here I am. So you can just imagine. So I think for this to work well, candidates or students must also be given responsibilities. So who's going to convene us? Well, they will be guided here and there. Who's going to this? So they must feel part and parcel of this, whilst also learning for their post-PhD work. I always say to my students, it is your duty to chase me, not vice versa. It's not my duty to chase you, it is your duty to chase me, it is your PhD. And then, in conclusion, when you decide to embark on a PhD, you are making a promise, not only to yourself, to many people. I don't go to church, but I know those that go to church, they promise God that they will be well behaved, they will study, and they will pass. You're making a promise to those close to you, to your neighbors, to your children. If you go to church, you also make a promise to your pastor and to the congregation. It will be announced in church that this one has enrolled for a PhD at this prestigious university. And that leads to a contract. Now you are entering into a contract. Multiple contracts. It will be a contract between you and your supervisor. Or maybe you'll say it's a memorandum of understanding to be to be more polite. Your children know about it. Your siblings know about it. Your parents know about it. And they have given you all their blessings. You can't let those blessings go to waste. You can't let those blessings go to waste. Thank you very much. Hello, Dr. Mtembu.
Professor Koza. Professor
Okay,
Koza around.
yeah. Now, I think, thank you, Prof, for this interesting presentation. And thank you, Dr. Mthembu, for introducing our guest speaker. So now, colleagues, the ball is in your hands because I'm sure you've written some notes which you would like to discuss with Prof. Dipane and other members and other supervisors. And students also can ask the questions so that when we start to do our planning, then we have a well articulated plan that we'll use tomorrow. So any questions, colleagues, or comments on what Prof. Hlalela has presented? You can raise your hand and then let's take it from there. Comments, question. I'm sure you're following what he indicated as that as the power dynamics between professors and other people, where people cannot ask or you can contribute. And I can see some comments there that a very informative presentation indeed. There's a question there from Samuel. Samuel, you can go ahead and ask the question or comment.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Professor, I think that was a brilliant presentation and very educative as well. I don't know whether mine is a contribution or a question, but then I think in most cases, our focus has been on regular students. When I say regular students, I'm referring to regular PhD students who come to do coursework for probably a year, and then thesis for the next 2 years or 3 years, depending on the structure of the university. My question is, if the students are Odell students, how do we encourage them to share their frustrations, especially with the writing of the thesis? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe
Prof,
we can take a
would you
few.
like to respond?
Can we take a few, maybe two or three?
Okay, yeah, two. Okay, yeah, because there's another hand there from Dr. Jihaya. Dr. Jihaya, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you, Professor Simon.
Okay.
I would also like to thank Professor Halele for the nice presentation.
You are breaking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You were
Okay.
moving.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm also thanking Professor Dipane for the good presentation. And it has highlighted a number of issues which are critical for the success of our students who are undertaking PhD. Maybe I would like him maybe to shed more light on supervision models, whereby he has mentioned two supervision models. One is the apprenticeship, where we have got one-on-one, and the other one is the cohort model, where we are talking about supervisors and candidates. And I note that in many of our universities, you find that a student is allocated, maybe at the PhD level, a student is normally allocated to supervisors. And in many cases, you may find that maybe the two supervisors work independently. You may find that in many cases, you not find the two supervisors coming together with the students, so that the three of them sit together so that they can be able to guide the student jointly. So you find the student going to supervisor A on Monday, then goes to supervisor B on Tuesday. And at the end of the day, you may find that the student sometimes is confused because maybe what he is told by the supervisor A contradicts what he is told by supervisor B. Maybe, Professor, you can help us maybe understand more, how can we create that cohort model which can work effectively for the benefit of the students? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doc. I think only those two hands we have, but the other question, Prof,
We
that you may
have
also...
John. We have John. Was it John who was speaking?
Oh no, it was Dr. Njia.
Yeah, John has raised a.
Oh,
there's a
John.
raised
Yeah,
hand
okay,
by
John, go ahead. Oh, there are two. Okay, okay, John, you the first
Okay,
one.
good afternoon.
Mhm.
Prof. Salele, thank you very much for your very informative and hopefully we'll finish very soon our studies. But I was captured when you were speaking about the two forms of completing the PhD, where you spoke about two ways, where you write a thesis and then where you write you produce 4 articles out of your work. Can you further explain the disadvantages of and advantages of both these two forms of writing the thesis, so that I would have more insight on it as in future where I want to pursue maybe my career on academia, and then how it's going to assist me if I am doing if I'm writing the thesis as the one that we know, or where I'm following the writing of the articles, and then how it's going to the disadvantages and advantages of it. Thank you, Prof.
Okay,
Yes.
Prof, let's take the last one to be the fourth
Okay,
one.
okay.
Let's take Muntunga as a hand as well.
Thank you, Prof. I'm Mutunga Banane.
Mhm.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. I want to thank the Prof for good presentation, but I have one concern. You have said that you can graduate with a PhD, but not necessarily be able to supervise.
Yes.
But kindly, I think you can expound on that, because if you are well grounded through your supervisors, through other readers, and you are grounded with all the requirements, the requirements, then why can't you supervise? Maybe I think you can expound to us, because we are optimistic that when we graduate we can supervise, so that we can also get the experience, we can get the touch. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I didn't get the name of the second speaker who spoke about apprenticeship and cohort models.
Dr. Njia.
Okay,
Ngiai.
Dr. Mukirai
Yeah,
Jehia from Kenyatta University.
Ngiai.
Jehia.
Njia.
Jehia, yeah.
Njia. Okay.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
Njihia.
Yes. Okay, let's start with the first one of Samuel. If you are a regular student and now you have these frustrations of yours, and with us, we provide different levels of engagement for students. So we will still have one-on-one with the student. I'll still have one-on-one with my students.
Okay.
But there's a time when we meet, all of us, in a cohort, and my students' work can be critiqued, not criticized, critiqued by other students and by other supervisors.
Okay.
We also encourage students to have their own WhatsApp groups, as I spoke about that, so that they meet on their own and they can then share their frustration. So I think if you have different levels of engagement, it works better for the students.
All right.
Than when you just have one level. You're a regular student, you go to your supervisor, and sometimes if the relationship is not good between yourself and your supervisor, or sometimes if the supervisor is so imposing in your work, then some students will feel that I rather work with other people that will listen to what I want to say and help me with my study than perform or conduct my supervisors another study.
Okay.
Okay, so that one, different levels.
Okay.
Can help.
Thank you.
Dr. Njia, supervision, apprenticeship, co-home models, you say in your university, you work independently, even though you are assigned 2 supervisors. it is important to form a supervisory team. That may be because now we are talking about this. I hope your leaders are also there and they are also open to trying out these things. I don't want to say they are listening. I just want to say they are open to try out these things. Here we allow our students to they can go to any cohort. They can go to any support group. So some of the support groups we don't even know. But that maybe is a culture that should be nurtured in your own institutions, that supervisors work together. I know of a situation where the supervisor will give comments on the students' work, and the other supervisor will give comments on the students' work, work, and the co-supervisors' comments. So now you have a tug of war there between the two supervisors. One trying to show who's better than the other. So maybe if the culture is created or nurtured in your own institution. I don't know if you have these things that are called postgraduate conferences, where all your postgraduate students will come there and they present their work, and they are critiqued by everybody from the campus community or the university community. I don't know if you have that. If you have that, I know some supervisors. I've been through that, so I don't take it to heart. I'm saying, okay, let's look at this. This is advice. We can take part of it, or we can take some of it, or we may not take it but we have to justify why we are rejecting what is being said. The supervisor A or B, I think supervisors need to have a working relationship. You see, Professor Koza and I can critique Professor Koza's students. He does so to mine. And somebody, Dr. Mtembu, was also there in the court. They do the same to us. Dr. Kumani from Lesotho, they also do that to all our students. So, and then we must be open to a festival of ideas. So, festival of ideas. Let's have, if we have different ideas, let's agree that they are different ideas, and they can only make our work richer. Articles, John, article format, some universities have that. I know ours has it. I can't remember it by heart, but I know we have that option. And you know, when you have 5 articles at this institution, the other people will know. Here we work, there's a merit system or a point system. So your outputs are counted on the basis of the work of the student and the work of the supervisor. So if you are my student and you publish or we publish together, we record those units, and those units, the university makes money out of them. So if you are doing the article format, let's say already you have those 5 articles, you'll get the incentives for the 5 ones, and already you know how to write articles. And then you convert that into a thesis. So you have an introductory chapter and your concluding chapter, and you bring those articles together. You reflect on them. So you have, if you are using the article option, you have both an article and a thesis. But if you are doing a thesis option, you only have a thesis. You still have to work on the articles. So that is maybe the difference. I don't want to say advantages and disadvantages. That is maybe the difference. You just write one thesis. But other people, like I know studies that are done in, like if you do history, each chapter will be on certain aspects of the whole theme. So those certain aspects can be converted into articles, or Yes, or those chapters can be converted into articles and then you just combine them. So it's just that it is not popular to go with the article format. I have not had a student who did that out of the many that I supervised. And then Dr. Mutunga, you're saying because you have a PhD, you have a license to, you have a license to supervise. Yes, you can supervise with a PhD, but it does not mean that you'll be successful. You can have a driving license, but it does not mean that you are going to be a good driver. You can cause many accidents after getting your driver's license, driving license. So I think that's it. That is if you have a PhD, you stand a good chance of being a good supervisor, but you still have to work on it. Work on becoming a good supervisor. I know when I was giving my first students, I did it first student. I don't think I knew what I was doing there, but well, like it is a student path. Like it is a student path. So you have your PhD, yes, you have your license to get there, but you still have to work on it. Even now, I'm still working on it. Even now, there are newer students whose approaches are newer, who are different from the previous ones. So you work on it continuously. So I'm just saying we can't say I have a PhD and fold our hands. You still have to do much, much more.
Okay, here's another question, Prof. Someone's indicated that how do you avoid homology?
How do you avoid homology?
Yeah.
Supervising the way you were supervised. Yeah, I think there are always hours. I learned that from other people. You know, there's one of the scholars who in South Africa who will criticize almost everything that is done by government. I remember he was invited to address us at some point, and when he was introduced, the person who was introducing him said, "This professor says a lot of things about everything. And he says good and bad things. But we want him, we are going to listen to him, but we want him for these good things that he's saying. We don't want him for the bad things. So we are going to listen to the good things that he says." So to avoid that, there are certain skills, there are certain practices that you may take from your supervision experience. You add other new things from that. And so that can form your basis. You say, okay, this one will work for me, this one will not work for me, and so on. Yeah. If your supervisor was getting very angry when you arrive 1 minute later, and here we stay in a big city, we know there can be accidents, there can be traffic jams, and there can be what. So I can't be angry with students who arrive 5 minutes late because my supervisor was doing it. Yeah, and so you carefully select what works for you during your supervision experience and what doesn't work for you. And then you, as an academic, you have your academic identity. I think also supervisors have their own identities. Students know you for being a particular kind of a supervisor.
Exactly.
So you have a particular identity, and that identity is built from your experience, from your aspirations, from realities. It is real now that students can be late for a supervision session because of traffic jams. So I must not raise my blood pressure unnecessarily because my student is late for a supervision session. So it's up to you how you craft your own supervisory identity. Why would a student from Nigeria call and say, I want to be supervised by you? What have they heard about you? Or why will a student from the US say, I want to come to Africa and I want to be supervised by you? I have this applied for this research funding project from the United States. What do you call it? Fulbright. From the Fulbright. How did they know about you? So you have a particular identity, either as an academic or as a supervisor or as a teacher in higher education. So that identifies you. So they will say, when you are gone, I know they will say this one was an embodiment of whatever. Yeah, that's who you would be. Unfortunately, they don't say us before. They don't say it before we pass away. So your identity, a mixture of those experience, aspirations, what is reality. You take all those nuances into consideration, and then you have your own particular identity.
Yeah, I like that, Prof. Maybe to add on it is that just remember when you were few seconds after birth, you had your identity. You were able to move. You were able to cry. You were able to, but there was no supervisor there. You did that because of the reality. Therefore, when you start to grow, then you started to be influenced by other people around you. So when they influence you, but you still have your own identity, which means you just reflect it back and then track where you lost your identity in the middle of your qualifications, because you do have your identity. Whether your supervisor was supervising like this, you may follow him or her, but at the end, your identity will form your scholarship, how you do things on your own. Prof, there's another question there in the chat which says, what is the longest period for a PhD student to finish? The longest period and the shortest period in Africa?
Well, I don't know for all the institutions, but I know it can be done in less than 24 months.
That's a minimum.
That's a minimum. And at UKZN, the preferred one is 8 semesters, 4 years. But you now after 8 semesters, then we have to motivate why they have to extend by a semester or by a year. Usually after that, they extend by a semester. If you are almost done, they will give you 1 semester. And then after 10 semesters, you must be out if you're a part-time student. 8 semesters if you're a full-time student. And that is very important because we have covered
all the questions.
When they do the university rankings, they also check the time. They also they also look at the time it takes for your students to complete their PhDs. What is the average period? Is it 5 years? Is it 4 years? And so on.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Prof. It looked like there's no.
Yeah, how does let me just unread messages. I think I can be a supervisor now from Taban Palem. Okay. That's good. I wish my students I'm supervising are attending.
Yeah, I think there are no questions now, Prof. I think they're just contributions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's okay. I hope that this will be a powerful mechanism in terms of our oneness as now I think we are taking it regionally, but we hope we know that there are limitations in terms of language. You have the francophone, whatever, and then maybe we may not be able to penetrate that area. But this should be a beginning of a good thing. I know we were looking for book chapters at some point, and then we were very frustrated not to get in touch with you from other countries. So maybe next time will be better. So don't look only at the supervision. There can also be a book project. You know, Professor Koza has a special issue, and there are many other things. So if you are interested in this one, you can get this one and so on. And maybe when you have them in your own country, well, if we have the resources, we can also be in that area for that time. It will be good to go to Kenya and ride in a matatu. Is it a matatu or matatu?
Yeah. I think, Prof. I think, Prof. Then you are right there that when we establish this, we're establishing it in order to make sure that we share resources. So if a special issues or a book that we are writing, we just share with colleagues from other universities. They will also share with us what they have. Then we work as a team like that. So that's the main idea around this. So supervision is what is driving the force, but publications are part of what will be discussed. So in other words, when we discuss this is for students, we will then be contributing towards those issues that will be special issues that are coming from different universities. And thank you again once more, Prof. So let's now take the next part now where we plan for tomorrow. But before we plan for tomorrow, let's have a just short, just a brief introduction of colleagues from different universities. So I'll just ask coordinators from those universities just to give us a brief indication of what's the nature of their colleagues and their students in terms of becoming interested in the program. From UKZN side, we have colleagues. You have seen Prof. Shalela, who has just been presenting, and then we also have other colleagues who are here as well, who are coming here to contribute. We have doctors, Dr. Mahadiu, we have Dr. Mzimela, Zama, Denisa, Brian, Shoba, Ntembu, and Bungose, and then myself. So I would like to ask Dr. Njia from the University of Kenya, of Kenyatta, just to give us a sense of what colleagues, the nature of colleagues from his side and the students. Then after that, we'll then go to another university. Thank you, Dr. Njihai.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Professor Simon, for that opportunity. We are happy to be here as Kenyatta University. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Prof. Doc. You can hear, go ahead.
Yeah, we are happy to be here as Kenyatta University, and we are well represented. And I can see from the participants who are here, we have got quite a good number of members of staff from Kenyatta University and also our postgraduate students. what happened is that when we received this call, I think we decided to open it up rather than domicile it in our Department of Educational Management. We realized that the issue of supervision cuts across all disciplines in the university. And so in collaboration with the Office of the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation, we decided to extend the call to the entire university. And that is why the representation that I'm seeing here, I'm seeing colleagues from diverse disciplines in Kenyatta University. And so we are well represented. We invited our PhD students, and I think they have come up, they have enrolled in a big way. And we are looking forward to more collaborations and more exchanges, because it's a learning opportunity. Just like our key presenter has said, that even if you have been supervising, every day is a learning experience. Every new student that you're supervising is new and gives you a new experience. And so we have to keep learning each and every day. Yeah, so we are well represented here, and I believe that the members of faculty and students from Kenyatta University who are here, they are eager to continue with the collaborations. And even the presenter, Professor Dipane, he has talked about publications, having book projects. When that information is shared, we are going to share it with the members of Kenyatta University, so that those who are interested and those who have the time can participate. Our students, I think they have also benefited a lot, and I think they are also looking forward to learning more, so that they can be able to make their PhD journey smooth, so that they can be able to graduate in the desired time. I think that's what I can say for now, and we are grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc. We really appreciate that, and then we'll also like you to share the nature of how many students may present tomorrow. But for now, let's keep it there when we come to the second round of planning for students. Let's get now. I think Dr. Makumane, it looked like now it has some challenges of network. And also Dr. Mabuza from Eswatini, it looked like. Dr. Mabuza, is your system okay now? Or it looked like it's disappeared as well. Okay, so when they come, then they will then introduce their colleagues in the nature of what they have that site. So that is Dr. Makumane from National University of Lesotho, but I can see some students there in the background. And then also Dr. Mabuza from the University of Eswatini will also, as just indicated, that he has some technical problem that side. But the students are here, their PhD students are here in the group. Maybe let's just go to I think Dr. Dlamini is here from the University of Witwatersrand. Dr. Dlamini, can you give us a sense of how, if colleagues would like to be part of this, how is that? Yeah, from your side, what is the nature of this project?
Well, thank you very much, Prof, and thank you very much to all the presenters and those who have introduced colleagues. So at VEST, we're definitely interested. It's just that today, unfortunately, my colleagues could not participate. We are having our PhD MDs weekend. So it started at 2 p.m. It's about to finish now at 6 o'clock, and also it's continuing tomorrow. But definitely we will be participating, Prof, and we're looking forward to the next sessions. Unfortunately, we just couldn't move our PhD weekend because it's set in the almanac early in the year or towards the end of the previous year. So, but definitely we are interested, and we're looking forward to working with colleagues from the continent and beyond. And thank you very much for your invitation for us to participate in this forum.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dlamini. Thank you very much. Let's get a sense from, Dr. Professor Bayak has just disappeared as well. Okay, let's get a sense from Dr. Buthelezi from Limpopo, University of Limpopo. Doc, do you have any indication that you can indicate what will be in terms of the nature of your student that side? Oh, it looked like he has oh, there's, yeah.
Yeah,
Prof,
maybe
Dr. Yeah.
I'm having a problem here with connectivity. It's breaking. Yeah, I'm having a problem, but I wanted to, there's so many things that I wanted to say, but now the
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, maybe I can help a little bit. Professor Buthelezi was our student here at UKZN, or my student here at UKZN. Now he's working at the University of Limpopo.
Okay.
So I extended the invitation to him. I don't know if they have discussed it at the University of Limpopo generally, but I think maybe
we may give him an opportunity. Yes. To explore more. Yes. I think colleagues, if there's any another university that have left out, please raise a hand if there is another university that have left out, except Dr. Makumane, which is from National University of Lesotho, as well as Dr. Mabuza from University of Eswatini. Those have indicated that they have some challenges that side. Therefore, any other university that seem to be missing here, and also Prof. Bayake from Nelson Mandela University also indicated a challenge of that. So in the, there's Dr. Mabuza now. Dr. Mabuza.
Thanks very much, Prof. I had another presentation at Happy Valley Motel, but I think I've been here for the last 30 minutes. I was here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So any other colleagues who are coming from that side?
I'm not sure, Prof. I didn't check, but I have some.
Yeah. So
two students.
Because we want to acknowledge their presence there. So if they are there, we should.
Okay. I have Naomi. She's a student. The other one I can't see online, Sabusi, but she's not online now. But I can see Naomi.
Okay. No, it's okay, Doc. Let us now open this opportunity now to supervisors or students who would like to present tomorrow, because the presentation that we ask or we run is that a student will present maybe a few minutes, let's say about 10 minutes, and then we have a discussion, so that when we have that discussion, other students will benefit from that discussion of that particular student. So we don't need the name of the supervisors when the student presents. So in other words, they shouldn't say my supervisor is Dr. Mpungo, say this. All what we need is the title of the of the thesis or proposal, and then after that you give us questions, and then you tell us where you are in terms of the stage in which you are. If you're at the literature level, you give us a brief indication of what you are doing at that particular stage. So when you do that, then it will be a contribution towards other students, because they may be doing something similar to yours and struggling with something similar to yours. So it shouldn't, you should not take it personally when you get a question or a contribution from either students or supervisors, because we are learning together as a team. Like what Professor Salela indicated, that we as supervisors are also learning when student present, because you learn new things when students come with their work. Therefore, we like to have students again then who are willing to present tomorrow, to take us for 10 minutes maybe, and then there will be a discussion after that. After that discussion, others will learn from the process, then you continue. When we have the next one in July, we'll have others to present as well. So those who may present this time should then indicate to us how, so that we know how many of them, and then we put a timetable how the presentation will go tomorrow. But it's not that you, when you present, you are entering an interrogation room where people will criticize your work. They are not criticizing, but they will critique your work in order for you to shape it in the right direction that will be acceptable to your examiners. Or if you are writing a paper, if you are writing your thesis through publications, then you will give us a paper that you are writing, and then we take it from there so that the paper may be acceptable to the reviewers of that journal articles, of that journal which we will be preparing it for. So for now, then let's have then students who would like to present tomorrow. You can just raise a hand so that will give you an opportunity that so and so will be presenting. Okay. Oh, there's Msimelelo. Msimelelo. Okay, let's write you as number 1. Okay. Oh, we have Nkosle. We have Kobongela, John, which is 2. We have John Kobongela. Then we also have number 3. Oops, someone ran away. There was number 3 there. Oh, it was Stein. Stein, are you Stanley? Or was your hand up for presentation, Stanley? Oh no, it's, which means it was not there. Okay, but I wrote Stanley. Or maybe it's network problem. Stanley Motieri. So, okay. We'll just keep a space for Stanley in case then. And any other colleagues who would like to present? Students, please come forward. Okay. And Dr. Mabuza, is any of your students willing to share his or her idea? Remember, colleagues, when your student present, your student will give us a pretty good idea on what is happening around the supervision process. So when that is happening, we will be able to contribute from various universities. Therefore, you should be encouraging your student to present so that we know that they are getting enough contribution from different countries. So anyone from Kenyatta University? Any student who would like to share his or her idea? Dr. People are scared to tell.
I think there is
Don't be
Mutuga
scared.
Bernard.
Allow us so that. Yeah.
I think Mutuga
Oh,
Bernard,
okay.
but the hand is up.
Yeah, I think it was up when he was asking questions. I don't know.
Maybe he could
Yes, it was
confirm.
up. It was up when I was asking the question.
Yeah.
I would
Maybe
have
you-
prepared anyway, but I'm
Not-
not at a position to present now.
Okay, then yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So but be prepared then for July then, so that when we meet in July, you present, eh?
No
Okay.
problem. No problem.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Any other? Okay, Dr. Mabuza. Let me get what Dr. Mabuza is saying here, because it looked like he has some challenges that side. Or maybe it's indicating that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prof, I'm in now.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't hearing you clearly. I just heard my name.
Yeah. No, we were asking if some of your students from their side would like to present tomorrow, so that we can support them, contribute towards what they are doing.
Yes, one student indicated that she wants to present Naom Sambo.
Okay, Naom. Okay.
Yes.
Naom Sambo. Okay. Okay. It looked like at the moment we have 4 students who are prepared to give us the indication of their work. And then, yeah, which means if there are 4 like this, we may give them 20 minutes then. So how is that, colleagues? Giving them 20 minutes because there are 4 who are prepared to give. So we give them 20 minutes, and then we have some discussions after that in discussing their work. Oh, there's another one there. Mafata is also from Lesotho. Is indicating that he also is willing to present a Mafata, right?
Okay,
Oh.
it's okay. Yeah, just raise up your hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Professor Simon, we have someone from Kenya who will make a presentation.
Okay.
He can
So-
give his name. He's in the meeting.
Yeah.
He's our students. He's our PhD students coordinator.
Okay.
Oh, okay, Dr. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Prof and the entire team, thank you for the presentation. I may not be very ready, but I wish to take up the challenge and make a short presentation tomorrow. Thank you. Ben Orwasa from
Yeah.
Kenyatta University, Kenya.
Okay. Okay. No, that's good. Yes, that's in fact all students are not ready because we did not indicate earlier enough that this is what will happen. But what they'll do then, they'll give us a clue on what they have so that we can contribute towards what they are doing. So when you present, just be prepared that we'll just contribute nicely so that by that time you go back and continue with your writing, then you know exactly what are some of the contributions from other colleagues as well as other students. Thank you. Thank you then. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 3, 6. Okay, colleagues, we seem to have 6 students, 6 PhD students who would like to present tomorrow. So when we meet tomorrow, then we'll give these 6 students an opportunity from 8 o'clock to present their work, starting with Nkoshe, followed by George. Okay, it looks like there's another one there. It looked like there's another one there from Kenyatta University. 8. Violet is written Violet, I think. Okay, let me check there quickly. I can see now. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll just write Violet. So which means there are 8 students whom we are contributing. So colleagues, let's join at 8 again, 8 o'clock, in order to support these students who are prepared to present their work. After presenting their work, we'll then be able to critique what they have been doing. So in other words, we'll be contributing to what they are doing in order to shape their studies. So when that is happening, remember other students as well should then align what will be given to this student with their thesis as well. So because the issue of research, you may have common theories that you are using that are in line with what other students have presented. Therefore, please make sure that when you listen to the contributions or when you contribute, you apply it to your work as well, so that we may not necessarily repeat what we have said to the first speaker, and then we say it in the second speaker or third speaker. We'll just put them like that so that it will be easy. For others to have. And then when we have this cohort, we will also then have, it look like someone also has something there to say. Let's, okay, no, I let's leave that one. Yes, so when that contribution is coming, we are not only contributing to what students are doing in their thesis, but we are contributing right across the board of supervision and publications. Therefore, when you publish, use the tools that we'll be discussing when these students are presenting tomorrow. I think if there's no other comment or contribution, I think we'll give these 8 students the opportunity to present Central African time. But when it comes to Kenya, it will be 9 o'clock. Let us use that opportunity. It looked like we'll finish early then if there are 8 only. I thought that there were going to be 20, but maybe the next one will have more. So then we can, yeah. Is there any other comments, colleagues, before we then come, we close then for the day today? Dr. Mpungo said, do you want to say something? It looked like.
Yes, Prof. I think we will have more students because I think they were not aware that they will be expected to present. But since they had the request that they should be able to present, maybe by tomorrow we'll have more students after they've discussed with their supervisors as well.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we plan to have another one in the first weekend of July, then I'm sure most of those students who were not aware will be ready and then present by that time.
All right, Prof. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone, colleagues, who would like to say the last concluding word before we close? Okay, it looks like colleagues now are ready for tomorrow. Let's meet tomorrow, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock in Kenya, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you very much, colleagues, for participating. All the time in terms of our planning, we'll always have a guest speaker on Friday, and then we'll have a presentation from students on Saturday. So thank you very much, colleagues. Bye-bye for now.
Okay, bye. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Prof.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks, bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Hey, colleagues,
Thanks,
tomorrow
bye.
morning.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
tomorrow.
you very much.
You.
See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you then. Bye-bye then. Take care.